Hey GadgetClass, I'm reviewing a vehicle DVR dash cam or black box. Use this to automatically record everything that goes on out your windshield or wherever you have it pointed at. Every time you turn on the car, it turns itself on and starts recording. Good thing to have for insurance or accident purposes. All police vehicles have this sort of thing installed on them, and I'm seeing more and more of my friends and family wanting to have this same functionality as well. This is sold by Faguan on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the video description below. Looking at the box, there are some discrepancies here. It does say 160 degree angle lens. In the manual it says 170 degrees, and on the Amazon listing it says I believe 130 degrees. I think the official word is that it's 130 degrees, so ignore that. Everything else is pretty good there. My biggest complaints about this product are the lack of clarity on the user manual. So I'm going to do a full function and user manual for you here after I do the unboxing. So in the box you get your camera, you get your cigarette lighter adapter. This is very important because it turns itself on and off with your cigarette lighter. So you want to make sure you have a cigarette lighter that turns itself off and on with vehicle power or ignition. We've got our suction cup mount. I did find that this works pretty well. It hides nice and neat up in the corner, and you can position it wherever you want and have your dash cam up and out of the way. It does tighten down and work really well. It's a fully functional suction cup there. We got our USB patch cable and our user manual. All right, I'm going to tell you right away, don't even bother looking at this. All right, the first pages are in Chinese. You get into the English and they are completely wrong. There is at least half of the functions it says are completely inaccurate. It thinks that one button does everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the user manual here in a second. So that's what comes in the box. As far as the device itself goes, it is fairly attractive. It's a nice compact little unit. It does seem like it's made pretty well. I do have a couple of assembly quality concerns, mainly with the screws. You got one screw there, and you see how there's a little piece of plastic under it? It actually makes it really hard to get this off and on. In fact, it's like it was so tight originally that it was gouging into the plastic there. So I'm going to take that screw out and try to take that plastic out and reseat it to see if that helps. But it was a real bear to get this on at first. And this one screw right here, it's slightly stripped and it's sitting up. So I'm going to take that one out and try to reseat that screw as well. Other than that, it functions and performs just as it should, and it's a nice sleek looking device. It does have IR blasters, it does have a full HD 1080p lens. Overall I'm going to give it I would give it a 3.5 out of 5, mainly because the park function does not work that well, and because of the issues. I had to teach myself how to use this. I had to unlearn what the power or what the manual said and kind of relearn everything. I'm going to go ahead and round it up to 4 out of 5 for now, but after I use it for a few months, I might up or downgrade that accordingly. So let's get into the operation procedures. Alright, I'm going to go over the entire operating procedures for this device so that you don't get confused by the user manual. In fact, I would suggest not even looking at the user manual. It'll confuse you more than anything. Let's start with power. If your cigarette lighter is controlled by your ignition, as soon as you power off the vehicle, your cigarette lighter will stop being powered and the USB port will stop being powered. It will continue recording for about 10 seconds and then automatically shut itself off. To turn it back on, you can press the power button once or reapply power. You can also turn it off at any time by holding down the power button. As soon as you reapply power or turn it back on, it will turn itself on and immediately begin recording. Now, starting in the upper left-hand corner here, you have the OK button. That is your play, pause, and stop button. Press it once to stop recording. Press it again to start recording. Okay. While you're recording, you cannot go into menu mode and you cannot change the camera mode. Okay. You have to stop recording to go into those two modes. But we can turn on protected mode with the little hazard icon button here. Press that, little key icon shows up. That means it will not overwrite that file on the device when it runs out of space. To get out of protected mode, you have to actually stop that file from being recorded and then restart it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop video recording because you cannot enter any of the other modes with it recording. So no flashing circle. Now we're going to use the middle hazard button to change to camera mode. In camera mode, you can press the OK button to take a picture, and it will save it to the card. We're going to go ahead and press the hazard button again and go into file review mode. In file review mode, you use the up and down arrows on the right here to view all of your different files and pictures. You can see the ones that have the little key icon are the ones that are protected. Let's go ahead and press the hazard button again to exit back out into video mode. Now let's go into our menu mode. In menu, you're going to use the up and down arrows and the OK button to navigate and enter your values. So on resolution, you hit down once and hit OK. Here you have your 4 different resolutions. Pick the one you want and hit OK. Loop recording, you can set your file size to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes. I like bigger files, so my files are going to be set to 5 minutes. That means that after 5 minutes, it'll start a new file. WDR is a wide dynamic range. That'll help you pick up dark objects in front of light backgrounds, help you get better exposure on things like, on your dashboard. You've constantly got the sun coming in, but you're going to have dark objects appearing in front of the light background. So WDR will help you catch some of those more hard to catch things. Exposure sets the light value. I would go ahead and leave it on default unless you're having issues. I found the default to be pretty good in most situations. Motion detection is a pretty good feature. As long as it's on, it will always record if it sees motion in front of the camera. The only problem is it won't automatically turn itself on if you have removed vehicle power and you want it to turn on with motion detection automatically. It will not. You have to leave it powered all the time if you want it to motion detect record. But it does work pretty well. If you leave it on, it will always record if it's seeing any kind of motion in front of it. But the only problem is that while it's on, you can't turn off or fade the display. So it's always going to be on even when the car is just sitting there doing nothing. So for that reason, I wouldn't really recommend it as a security feature, more as a way to only record when there's motion going on and the device is powered and on. So we're going to leave that off. Record audio just turns the mic on and records audio with the video. Date stamp turns the date stamp on. G-sensor is not as good as I would like it to be. I've tried all 3 settings, and you really have to shake the hell out of this thing or really jar it to get it to respond to the G-sensor function, especially in park mode. I'm going to do a park mode demonstration here at the end of the video. I would just leave it on high, play around with it, see if you can get it to work better than mine did. Alright, to go to the next menu tab, we're going to go ahead and hit menu again, menu once, menu twice. Here we can set our date and time. We can set our car number if you have multiple vehicles. Auto power off. I'm not sure when it's going to do this. I think if you're in motion detect mode and it's not sensing any motion for 10 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, it'll automatically turn itself off. Beep sound is the beeper sound as you're pressing buttons. Language. Go ahead and go through the languages. We've got English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, Italian, various Asians. I don't know what all these are. All those languages. We're going to leave it on English. TV mode, NTSC or PAL. Most Americans use NTSC. Frequency is the scan rate of the video. A higher scan rate might give you a little bit better in some situations, but most of the time 50 to 60 hertz isn't going to be any kind of big change. IRD LED mode, you can hard set it here, or you can also control it with the power button while you're recording. I'm going to leave it on auto. That just sets how long or when the IR blasters for NightVision are being used. Now here's an interesting one. Waigazi Kases Erakanu. I have no idea what that means, but if you go into it, it's another 3, 5, 10 minute timer. And it looks like a little light symbol. I have no idea what that means. No idea whatsoever. I'm just leaving it on 10 minutes. Format, that's where you format your SD card if you want to delete all your files. We're not going to do that. Default setting will set you everything back to the default, and that's our device firmware version. Okay, so that's the menu option. That's the entire menu option. So let's go into that IR blast mode. You see the little A symbol? That's not a flash. That's actually the IR flash function. So while you're recording, flashing circle there, if you press the power button, it will go from off to on to auto. So if you're recording at night and it doesn't seem like it's picking up that well, go and switch it to on. That'll turn on the IR blasters for night vision. If it's bugging you, turn it to auto or off, like so. Okay, let's go ahead and stop recording again. That's pretty much it for the menu and entering function there. Let's get into the park mode, and I'm really disappointed in the park mode. In fact, I'm taking off an entire star because park mode is kind of worthless. You turn on park mode, ideally when you're parking, and as soon as the device powers on, let's go ahead and turn it off. So we're in park mode. Say we just turned off our ignition. It's in park mode. It'll automatically finish out recording here in a second. The idea is that if someone starts messing with your car, starts shaking things, it'll automatically turn back on and start recording for 15 seconds. The only problem is, it doesn't matter what you have that G setting set to, it just doesn't want to turn on. I went out and drove around the field when going through all kinds of potholes and stuff. Someone would really have to be messing with your vehicle to get it to turn on. In fact, they would probably have to rear end it or collide with it in a moving vehicle. You can get it to come on. You have to shake it really, really hard. It takes some severe G's, and it's just not going to happen unless someone hits your vehicle with their vehicle. So I would like park mode to actually start recording, say if the vehicle gets shook a little bit. I'd like to be able to, something like that should be able to turn it back on, not the severity of a vehicle collision. So that's my biggest gripe with this device, along with the having to figure out how all this stuff works because of the user manual confusing me. Now that I've showed you, you probably all think it's easy, but it took me a while to unlearn what the user manual told me. User manual thinks the M button does everything. According to the user manual, the M button does everything that these two buttons do, and it doesn't tell you about not being able to do certain things while recording and stuff. So that's my user manual. I'm sticking to it. Let's go ahead and go out and do our park test and our night vision test. Alright, it turns out that the P mode, which is the park protection mode, does not work that well. To show that it is in P mode right there, it's in P mode, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And basically what's supposed to happen is when you're parked, it's supposed to turn on if someone tries to steal your car or you get hit. But I'm running right now. I'm going to go ahead and drive around, and I'm in the field, and there are a bunch of big old bumps. It should emulate a car hitting my truck. Got some big old bumps going in here. I'm going over big old bumps. Alright, I just went through a big old hole there, and it's not turning on at all. So someone could easily have hit me and it would not have turned on. It's not sensitive enough. Alright, it's nighttime. It looks like the infrared lights don't really show up through the windshield very well. It does catch the road as long as your headlights are on. I'm going to go ahead and turn the headlights off here, and then we'll go outside real quick.